the cold morning of February 3rd, 1959, music tragically died, taking the lives of legends such as Buddy Holly, J.P. the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. But before we learn of this tragedy, let's rock and roll in the past and learn how it, let's rock and roll in the past and learn how music was before. Then we will pick up the blues and learn of the tragedy itself. Afterward, we'll swivel like Elvis and learn how it affected the future of music. Rock and roll in the '50s was different than what it is today. It took elements from R&B, rhythm and blues, jazz, and country. Uh, it it was based on the attitude of a generation, which was rockabilly. But each musician had their own way to rock. The first icon I will talk about today is Buddy Holly. His music differed from the normal rock heard at the time, as his was more of an early grunge sound, similar to Nirvana. But later, at the end of his career, sadly at age 22, he did ballads. However, on the other hand, J.P. the Big Bopper did had a more jazzy orchestrational approach. And now on to the young Richie Valens. He His music was closest to rock and roll to me at the time between the three, with his catchy melodies and R&B sound. Now let us learn of the bad news on the doorstep and learn of the tragedy. Buddy Holly and his band The Crickets hired a plane because they were sick of the cold and uncomfortable tour bus. JP, the Big Bopper at the time, was sick and talked one of the band members into giving him a seat on the plane. Richie Valens, also sick, flipped a coin with one of the band members and called heads as it went out. As it went up into the air, it landed on heads. And as the three ride high into the night, they never made it to their destination. Crashing close to Clear Lake, Iowa, three of the biggest upcoming rock stars at the time were taken. All the events that caused the music to die, all these events. Oh, no, wait, I missed something. Okay. Later in the 1950s, Elvis was taken to the army, and Chuck Berry, well known for his song "Sweet Little 16" and "Johnny Be Good," was arrested for taking a white girl across state lines, illegal for a man of his color. Now, all these events are what caused the music to die, but it never really died, did it? As a few years after the events of 1959, the Beatles came to be and they took inspiration from Buddy Holly's The Crickets with their Beatles, and Holly's music, uh, but there was not just the Beatles, as there was their competitor, the Rolling Stones, and what changed in the music industry now in the '60s was a big boom. This boom brought up like a massive change with Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and even the Doors. Uh, but on that cold morning of February 3rd, 1959, Uh, music did take a short pause for the morning of Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens, but that rock and roll soul was not taken with them. As it changed and groaned, leaving the '50s, the bluesy country sound, it was reborn. Now with effects and distortion, a rougher, crazier rock was born. And many hearts were broken when Buddy Holly, J.P. the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens was taken from this world. But their lives and deaths influenced the music from their generation on and is an important part of musical history. Nobody will forget the day the music died.